Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is April Fool's, Friday, April 1st. I absolutely cannot stand April Fool's, so I'm not going to give April Fool's the credit that it deserves because it's stupid, and I hate it. I also hate breaking news, so I'm not breaking news anymore, but I will...
April Fool's about your Zion take?
No, it's not April Fool's about that. It is not April Fool's. Our sources have... Our source did come out and tell us this was going to happen, so I'm sticking to that. I'm not going to tell my social media guy to clip this post because I do not want that pressure on myself anymore because I don't like breaking news. That was very nerve-wracking and I didn't like it. I don't want to do that anymore. We are brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We're going to get going. We have the little two mini kegs from Dos Equis, which are fire, by the way. So if you haven't purchased this or haven't gotten it, get them because they fit. Jack, 16 beers in the keg?
16 beers.
16 beers in the kegs. We are live from Earl's. We got a big show for you today. We have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series at Alex Box Stadium. LSU baseball series started on Thursday. They lost the opener. We're going to get into that. Preview the game today.
You're on the air. We can hear you.
I got people talking all over. What do you got going on over here?
You whispered it to me.
What do you got going over here? What do you got going?
They're whispering sweet nothings, but y'all are wearing headphones.
I'm getting requests.
We were taking bets and didn't believe that 16 beers fit in there. That's
what he said. We are getting requests from the huge audience we have here. Earl's is not open. Earl's is not open yet. Earl's opens in 10 minutes. Come drink with us. We have a bar tab. If you don't want to come drink with us, that's fine. Watch us. But they're requesting a keg stand. I don't think that's possible. I think maybe if I put the keg above my head, it would work. We're going to get into it. Big baseball show. Big sports show, but baseball is the headline. There's not really many other things going on in sports right now. There's some NFL news, but not really much. Nobody really cares about NFL news in Baton Rouge. We're going to get into the baseball talk. Last night was not how you drew it up. That's not what we wanted to see. We didn't want to see them lose. That's the third straight SEC weekend they've lost the Friday night game. That's tough tickets. That's a tough thing to overcome.
Tough trend.
We've talked about it before. We've talked about all the issues all the good things that they have and all the potential this team does have and the things that have been holding them back. And those things that have been holding them back kind of came in full display last night, right? The defense, they made 2 errors. One of them, there's a couple plays that probably should have been errors that weren't considered errors because they were tough. Look, I know baseball is a very, very, very hard game. You know it. I know it. We've played it. We understand it, right? I'm not making excuses because the games are hard. No matter what happens, no matter how hard the play is, at this level, you are expected to make those plays. Those plays have to be made in order to get to where they want to get. And I think the guys who are on the field would say the exact same thing. So we're going to get into that. I want to get into the positives of that, the negatives of the game, and things that I like the most. Lloyd, actually, new nickname for Lloyd.
Oh,
is Floyd.
I've been Floyd before.
It is Floyd. Well, you've not been Floyd before with me. Not on this show, so it's Floyd. Floyd is here in the corner repping the F45.
That's right.
Floyd got his first sponsor.
Functional
Fitness. F45.
With the tag?
With the tag.
With the tag. Lloyd, why don't you explain to them why you had a tag on?
Oh, because I'm not taking the tag off until I'm strong enough to get it off.
I
want no help. I just want to be able to rip it off. Mikey couldn't do it, so I figured that'd be a great test of where I can get it.
You gotta let them know that it's string, so that way people know.
What are you thinking? What else would it be?
It's not the plastic grip off. It's an actual string.
It's connected in this weird way.
What happens when it's time to wash that thing?
Oh, no washing. That's what I told him what the move is.
So here's the deal.
If you see Lloyd in this shirt 2 months from now,
you'll see the
stay clear. Don't go too close.
Here's the deal though. When it gets to that point and you can rip it off, once you rip the tag off, the sleeves have to come off the shirt.
Oh, what we were talking about.
Maybe crop top.
I know F45. Anthony Ranaudo's here in the studio. He is part owner of F45. I know that they have cutoffs.
They do.
I think we should get him one of those as he doesn't want to do the before and after. I don't know why he's fighting that.
Well, because the before is not very good. So I'm
I
working.
like the storytelling part of it, though. We were talking about crop topping it along the way, and then maybe like slowly cutting down.
Maybe
as
I
it
think
gets
you
more
gotta go with
jacked.
the
Maybe get him a
pulls
little
out.
half sleeve.
You gotta go with like
Maybe.
the cut. You gotta go with the cut that shows like the tracks
some
too.
ink
You
on
know,
the
like
arm.
oh, yeah,
That's what I'm saying. We were going to progressively cut it. So
with the big underarm so we can see the what these called.
As you progress up,
get a lot of advice.
You gotta go with the long undercut too so we can see the lats in the shirt. Yeah.
long undercut with the stringy top part.
It's a whole process.
Yeah,
With the
but
stringy
the
top
only
part.
thing that stays is the tag.
Yes.
The only
And then once you rip the tag off, you get some ink on your arm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got to get my nipples pierced apparently on the Colada show. So a lot going on. A lot of big transformation.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
there we
okay.
go.
It's gonna be good for you. It's gonna be very good for you. It's good for the
it can't get
future.
much worse.
It's good for the team.
I think so.
good for
If you go crop top, you might as well get the belly button pierced too while you at it.
Yeah, especially if you're going crop top, it's important.
I could get the Prince Albert. It's a little bit lower.
I don't know how we mixed that one in with that 45. Might get in trouble with that one.
That's a little something different.
Oh man! But to finish the F45, F45 just opened up a new studio out in Bocage. So they have locations in Bocage and City Square. Go check them out. Lloyd is going to be. You're going to see the progression of Lloyd. He will be literally the walking billboard of F45. So congratulations on your first sponsorship.
Yes.
Thank you. Couldn't happen without you.
Functional 45 minutes. See you in
Very
there.
happy.
That's right.
We got Jay Mitch in the building. We're going to get into this baseball talk. I guess let's jump right into it. I know you watched bits and pieces of the game. You watched a little bit of the game. Lou was at the game. I was at the game, right? I saw, look, LSU's hitting 217 on the year off of lefties, right? And I had, like, the scouting, we kind of broke down the game a little bit before series. I think it was on Wednesday. We broke the game down, and we said we got a scouting report from our good friend that has a very good inside information on SEC baseball, and he gave us a scouting report. He had just played them on Auburn. He basically said their pitching staff is good. They have good arms. Their bullpen is very above average. They have a bunch of arms that throw 93 to 97. They have power arms out the bullpen, and they play well. And their offense is pesky. They're going to fight off pitches. They're not going to strike out a ton. They're going to aggravate guys, and they're going to do things. They're going to bunt. They're going to do things that makes LSU play defense. And you saw all of those things happen yesterday. Right? They had a lefty on the mound. The lefty was good. He was like 91 to 94, right? And he was filling the zone up inside, right? So the LSU wasn't giving up the inside part of the plate. Umpire may have been extending the zone a little bit in off, and he was taking advantage of it, and he was dominating them. K. Doty led the game off with a homer. And then after that, it was 1-0 until Travinsky hit a solo homer, so it's 2-0. And then the dreaded fifth inning happens, and they give up 6 runs in the fifth inning to make it 6-2. They made a comeback. Braden Joubert stays hot, hits his 10th homer, make it 6-4 in the 8th. 9th inning happens. Doty has another great at bat, gets a base hit. Trey Morgan gets a chopper over the first baseman, goes first to third. Thought Dylan Cruz hits a walk-off 3-run homer. Deep 400-foot sac fly to center field, 6-5. Ends up leaving the timer on second base. The game's over. The right fielder actually made an unbelievable play to end the game. I thought he blew his knee out.
Really?
So the guy from Auburn.
You stay the whole game?
Whole game. I was there with my father-in-law.
Oh, nice.
I had to go. Yeah.
Every
Lloyd
game
is
is deep.
Lloyd is there by
4-hour
himself.
average.
Hey, Lloyd, listen to this. Lloyd's friend, Floyd's friend said, "Hey, I have tickets. You want to go to the game?" I offered him a ticket to the game. He's like, "Hey, I already have tickets going to the game."
Trying to be a good guy.
Yeah, trying to go with his friend who was staying with him for the weekend.
Yeah.
His friend then calls him and says, "Actually, I have one ticket for you. I'm going up in the suite with my boss." I was like, "Okay." So I was like, "Sorry, I already gave away the other 2 tickets. Like, I don't have any more tickets." Yeah, like I already gave away the tickets, like whatever. So I'm in there watching the game. My father-in-law and his friend and the other people that got the tickets with us aren't there yet. So I'm sitting there drinking a beer, watching the game in the concourse like an idiot by myself.
Lansburg.
Yeah, like Steven Glansberg. I'm sitting over there, and Floyd finally shows up. And he comes sits and we start talking. So we talk for about half an inning. I go sit down. He goes sits by himself with random-ass people in the stands, right? So he's texting me throughout the game. It's great. We're
just going back and forth. We should just be sitting together.
I wanted him to sit next to us, but there's nowhere for him to sit because you have, it was at the time it was packed. It started thinning out as the game, it was Thursday night, so as the game got on. But Lloyd had to go sit in the game by himself, so he was there. He saw some of this stuff
I
happen.
got smothered by 2 old men but they weren't sitting next to each other, or I wasn't sitting between them. They were in the row in front of me and the row behind me. So I slid into like the good spot. I was like, oh, I'm fine right here.
Yeah,
and
what
they're
a fun.
talking back and forth right over me. I was like, why aren't y'all sitting next to each other? Hey, partner, you see that one? I was like, I'm not your partner. No, you are. You're
Hey, partner.
the other guy. It was unbelievable what was going on, but they were dropping all sorts of baseball.
Were they eavesdropping on your phone too while you were texting?
How was their baseball talk? How's their baseball
It's
talk?
good. They were talking a lot about the skip days. They wanted to have him on the.
Oh,
of course. Really? The same seats for
Old LSU baseball fans were talking about Skip.
Unbelievable.
You're telling me they went back to the 5 and 10?
All the skip talk is warranted, but I mean, of course, that's what they talk about.
Right.
So if you're older and if you're an LSU fan, that's an older LSU fan, you came up through the skip age, and that's
Well, that's why they're there watching, is because of that stuff. Yeah.
It's like Pam Anderson. It always goes back. You always go back to the honey hole. Like,
how did you do that?
There it is. Skip Bertman
did you do that?
is like Pam Anderson.
This will be the first time ever
Skip
that
Bertman and
Skip
Pam
and
Anderson.
Pam got put into the same sentence. I promise you that.
How
No
did you
one
do
has
that?
done that.
oh, because you go back to what feels good. You're just like, oh, if you can't
How does your
figure
brain
out,
work?
I don't know. The bathroom's leaking.
It works just like that. You're right. It works just like that. I don't understand.
Unbelievable.
It's just it's nostalgia, and you know it's good when you see it. And they love Skip smoking heaters on the first step of the dugout.
Oh yeah.
Every sentence he's saying right now, I keep going. If he says Skip, I keep putting Pam in that. I'm just like,
I keep seeing Pam's face on Skip's ball. That's not good.
If it feels good, I'm just like, well, how do you know Pam feels good?
He wishes he knew.
It's on the internet.
He wishes he knew.
I can imagine.
I'm like, well,
Tommy Lee made it
There's a
seem very
documentary on it. There's a documentary on it.
And they'll show you a lot of commercials about
They
it.
do a lot of commercials on it. But back to what I was saying, the ninth inning, they left the guy on second base, the tying run on second base. Jordan Thompson flies out to right. The right fielder is running full speed, catches the ball, hammers the bullpen bench, like the wooden bench. Like, I thought he blew his knee out.
my God.
He got up, can't get up, got back up, fell back down. Like, I'm like, this is not good. Everybody's like, and the fans are like, we're mad because like we lost, and like, but like we're concerned, but like we don't want to wait because we lost. Like everybody's like walking out, but like kind of like looking back to see if he's still okay, and then like the whole team runs out to right field. They had their meeting in right field to see if he's okay.
Auburn?
Oh my.
Yeah, Auburn, because like he's on the ground, he can't
Right.
move. So the trainers go out there, the whole team runs out there, and then the guy gets up and walks right off the field with the whole team.
Oh, that's
and everybody's like clapping like this.
As they're
walking
walking
out the stadium. Like,
Yeah.
hey, good job. You ended the game for us. I'm glad you didn't blow your knee out, but
Yeah.
That's a
like,
big
come on.
conundrum for LSU fans. They love to cheer for people that beat LSU and see somebody
No,
get
I will
hurt,
say,
but
look,
you lose.
whoa, easy with the negativity over there.
I was not being negative.
Yeah,
LSU
you're
fans
mad.
are
You're
very
mad that LSU
supportive.
fans cheered for the other people. This is what I respect about LSU fans. They are very knowledgeable baseball fans. For the most part, they are very knowledgeable. And so if a guy comes in,
Passive-aggressive.
Far more knowledgeable than Tennessee's crowd.
yes. What happened?
I'm just saying.
What happened?
Nothing.
What happened in Tennessee? I did tell a story about the Sean story.
I mean, there's a lot of things that happen.
I know.
There's a lot of people that come back with bad stories over there.
You're right. Tennessee's not very good.
I remember you telling
But
me your freshman year one? You're telling me
Speaking of-
or no, it was my freshman year, sophomore year.
speaking of knowledgeable, this is completely off base, and but that made me think of it. Speaking of knowledgeable, did you see Juan Soto hit the grand slam off of Edwin Diaz in spring training? They're playing a night game. It was the Mets and the Nationals. Juan Soto hits an oppo grand slam. Edwin Diaz does the point. Like it's a fly ball, and
Can
the
we
ball
retire
goes
that?
out.
I just
Why we do that? Do you think
What
anyone
is looking at the picture to be like, oh, thank God. Okay, now I know that's
Where's the
up.
ball?
Like,
Where's the ball? Thank God
Like
the
Juan
picture-
Soto hit
good
it,
thing he
and
was
he
pointing
hits it, and he
up to
kind
him
of
to
like
see where
looks
it
at
is.
it, and the guy points. I'm like, whoa, bro, you throw 100, I know, and you just got paid a lot of money, but like this is Juan Soto, like.
No.
Just because you hit it doesn't mean it's a pop fly. It's over the fence. It's a grand slam,
I
actually.
think that rule came from like when it was a pop up behind the catcher, so you could be like, dude, it's up, look. But
You know what I do
when it's
want-
going this way.
Not the picture to the outfield.
You know what I want
All
them.
those guys are looking for pop ups anyway. Like they're
You know what
already
I want them to bring back is the Chad Jones outs call. I want every pitcher to show the
two
outs to the
outs.
outfield. Yeah,
Two
two
outs.
outs.
Pretty
two
sure
outs.
there's never been a fly ball that I've lost in the sky that I immediately look down at the picture and be like, where
Let me
is
see
it?
his. Oh, he's
Where is
pointing
it?
up.
Thank
So
God
it
the
must
picture
be
was
up.
telling me where it was. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
That's not your job.
Let's retire that.
not
It's
your
just
job.
making pitchers look stupid now.
What do you think? Wait. What do you think about the Juan Soto in the batter's box? That he kind of.
I don't mind it.
Well, Trey Morgan does the same thing.
Yeah, it does differently.
He does.
Does it differently.
But it's
He does
it's
it
the
way
same-
differently.
It's the same idea.
It's the same tactics.
Trey goes here and goes backwards.
Yeah, he's spitting
He
on the
does
pitch.
it Juan Soto goes towards the pitcher.
And gives you a little stare.
And grabs his nuts.
And gives you a little stare.
I mean, some pitchers.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
but Juan Soto's also hitting 330 in the big leagues with.
Hey, go look at his stat line in his career. It's kind of hard to argue with it.
Like, you can do what you want.
He's in the big boy league. He's doing this in the big boy league.
Yeah.
He's in the big boy league. So I look. You know what? If you don't like it, get him out.
Right.
Can't get him out.
I mean, like, that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, you don't like it.
You can't get him out. But Anthony's going to be here for a little bit. He's not going to be here for too long. So I want to get into this because Blake Money started last night. It's just he didn't start the 2 weeks ago, but he started the last two outings, and he has not had great outings. He started this one. He kind of had a little shakiness to start. He had a couple walks, pitched his way out of it, got to the fifth inning, kind of felt like he was getting into this rhythm, right? Then he comes out and gets into the fifth. He gets the first guy. There's one out, runners on second and third. He gets a big out, a fly ball out, right? Now there's runners on second and third with two outs. The big first baseman, who's their best hitter, they intentionally walk, put him on first. Then they have this big chopper. Then the inning snowballs. He gives a 3-run homer. Listen, he's a sophomore. He's young. He's going to learn. He's going to get through some of these. These things are going to help him along the lines and help him get down, help him down the line, help him get better.
Yeah.
But the emotions that he showed a little bit last night, I thought that he didn't like the umpire's calls. I think he started showing the umpire up a little bit, which everybody knows is all about the umps. If the umps, it's the ump show. If they feel like they're being threatened, they are going to take it out on you. Like if you don't respect them, they're going to say, hey, I control this.
Right.
And they're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? So then those things kind of snowballed. He got pulled in the fifth. He gave up, I think, 5 or 6 earned runs, comes out, and we end up losing the game, right? So what I want to ask you, because you've been through it, y'all are similar, actually pretty similar in stature. He's 6'6", I think. Yeah. He's a big dude. You went through ups and downs. You went through your freshman year, you got hurt. Your sophomore year in All-American, your junior year you got hurt. You came back through injury. You had high emotions, up, down, whatever, right? You're the Friday night guy. Painting the picture. You get it. You understand it. How do you get through it? How do you overcome it?
Picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Yep. How do you overcome it?
Yep.
What do you do? Like, is there things that you did mentally? Is there things you did on the field physically? Is there things that made it click for you to where you could say, all right, let me regroup and get back to where I need to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's individual too, so I think Blake will probably have his own routines, and every pitcher probably does, or find that safe place that you got to go back to and stuff. But if you guys remember too, I don't know, that year when I was the Friday guy, my sophomore year, Maneri was thinking about changing me because I'd pitched really well the first 3 or 4 SEC weekends, but we couldn't get a win on Friday night. Same thing. It was like 1-run games, 2-1. Yeah. So I remember him sitting me down. He's like, I just want to let you know we're thinking about you did nothing wrong.
These stupid things.
Just like you did nothing wrong there. You were just chilling. I saw that.
You gotta put up more.
There we go.
Yeah.
No.
I don't feel good about that.
I get it. Go ahead. Don't let this
We
distract.
got some mic difficulties here. But no,
Literally mic'd up.
Yeah, literally. But no, everybody's got to find their own thing, right? That you go back to. And for me, it was more team camaraderie. Like from me, right? Like everybody kind of had my back and was like, dude, no matter what, just keep going. We're gonna get this for you. Like it doesn't matter where you pitch. Like you keep us in the game, right? So that kind of gave me the confidence to keep going. I'm sure Blake has his own thing, whether it's family, friends, the support system, the team, coaches, an outside source or whatever it is. But that's what it is. And through experience, he'll find that. So hopefully he's got somebody or some people or some things that he can go back to and find. And hopefully he'll find that success and settle in where he needs to settle.
What did you do? I know you talked about your friends, everybody had your back. But did you do something specific? Because our sophomore year, or your junior year, my sophomore year, we were good.
Yeah.
And you went down. You had to overcome injury. I know that's a big thing. He came through. He came back from his wrist injury. What is that? What goes into that as far as the recovery and coming back on the mound and wanting to be exactly how you were before you went out?
Well, shit, don't listen to me. I messed up my junior year. I came back way too quick, remember? I mean, we were the #1 team in the country, and I tried to rush back because we, All-American, we were like, oh, it's going to be even better. But actually, it kind of messed up our whole flow after that. So
What how nasty were you when you came back in the SEC tournament?
Oh, no, that was nice. Yeah, so it worked out well at the end. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the positive spin.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
No, I mean, so there was nothing specific for me. You knew this. I was a big routine guy. So for me, it was honestly just sticking together with my routine. Okay, hey, look, stuff's not going my way on the field. It's out of my control, right? For me, it wasn't errors like with Blake's or, maybe poor defense or umpires or unfortunate situations. It was literally just the way the game of baseball goes, right? Like 1-1 game in the sixth, and all of a sudden I'm out and we wound up losing the game or something, later on in the game. So for me, it was just staying consistent to my routine and trusting that our team, that everybody was going to, come together in the right time. And that's kind of what I see for Blake. As long as he can do that kind of stuff and like come together and like give it time and kind of get into that rhythm that you talked about and keep that going and kind of just shake these bad ones when they come, I think he'll be all right.
How do you?
Here's a question.
Yeah.
As far as and I guess you could shed some light on this, especially because you're an emotional guy. Like you've shown emotion throughout your career.
A little bit.
Yelled a few times.
Yeah.
And look, we're obviously on the topic of Blake a little bit, but this really can go across to their whole staff as a whole, right? Learning how to navigate and do this. As far as for showing emotions on the mound, especially when it's calls you do or don't get and stuff like that as you go through innings and go through games, how important is it to be able to basically be as stoic as possible about the calls you're getting and or not getting on the other side of it?
No, that's great. And I think it comes back to like controlling what you can control, right? So the umpire is out of your control, and this, little things like that, or the weather, the way a play shakes out, but you're 100% in control of your response. So that to me was figuring out what emotion it was for me. I think that let me respond positively. Okay, umpire, bad call. I'll smile a little bit, get my the ball back, and that little chip of confidence was gave me that emotion. Like, all right, you ready? All right,
there's a little more juice.
Strike, I'm gonna make it a little bit better, you know. And then it was maybe like coming in the dugout and having Chris McGee and Buzzy Haydo and Nick Pontiff push me a little bit and be like, and I'd be pissed, and they'd be like, what? The umpire's squeezing you? Let's go, like doesn't matter, throw strikes. And like I needed that little bit of emotion. Like, all right, locked in. Like it doesn't matter. You're right. Let's go. And it's on me. So like I don't know. It was honestly finding the right emotion and then kind of like channeling that and letting that kind of do the work. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. How do you control the controllables, right? Like understand that it's easier said than done, right? It's hard. Emotions are normal. It's a human nature for everyone to feel emotions one way or the other. How do you, I guess, get through a situation where maybe you make a play or you make a pitch and the defense doesn't make the play behind you that probably should have been made, or like, the guy puts a ball in a tweener position. You're like, damn, I wish you would have made that play. Like, how do you get through that frustration of like, hey, I'm not blaming them. I don't want to get frustrated on my guys because they're working their ass off. And
it was great. For me, it was easy. It was perspective always, right? The ability to zoom out and be like, yeah, he didn't make that play, but how many times does a dude make a diving play, or does an umpire actually give you a call or a foul before a replay, right? They call a ball foul that was fair, and saved you 2 runs. A dude hits a home run off you that's foul, or fair, but they call it foul, and you know what I'm saying? Then you strike him out the next pitch or something like that. So to me, it was the ability to have perspective and understand that was just one moment,
right?
And there will be another moment, in a second, So honestly, just that ability to be like the awareness of that.
That's hard to do.
Oh, it's really hard.
It's hard to do.
And I think it's really huge for pitchers to be able to do it as a whole. It doesn't matter if you're coming out the pen. It doesn't matter if you're starting, but being able to control that. And honestly, I think there's a thing to it as a hitter, like when you've made a great pitch, whether it's a ball or strike, and you don't get the call, and as a hitter you get the call, and I look back at the pitcher and he ain't even fazed by it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's huge, man. It plays in the psyche a little bit of it too, where he's like, I don't care, dude. I'll come back and get the next one. Like, what's up? I think it's huge.
Yeah, and then one of the things too, like for me, I guess maybe at a young age, you said this, I've been an emotional kid since I was a kid, right? So my dad used to always not train me, but he dude, that umpire doesn't matter. He's gonna call it a ball or a strike. You got to let that guy stop.
Yeah, he's not good. He's not good enough. He's not
exactly. So for me, I think every start that I ever had, it was like almost like I didn't pay attention to the umpire. It didn't matter what that man was doing. I had to do my job.
Yeah.
And if he calls it a ball, I got to come back and make it a better pitch. It doesn't matter. Like just because he called it a ball, that team's not going to take it easy.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's a great perspective because it's hard. It's like I said, emotions are a hard thing to overcome, and that's. I'm a very emotional player. Yeah. You're an emotional player. You were an emotional player. It's a hard thing to Lloyd is I don't know if Lloyd's a very emotional human being.
Lloyd's a sexual player.
Yeah, Lloyd. Yeah.
Lloyd's a big look good feel good play good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tactic though for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And I guess that goes because so the mentality, right? So we're talking about mentality. I think that goes into what happened after he got taken out the game, right? So he comes out the game, right? And we're gonna get into this a little bit later. There's some leadership that went on. I'm gonna call it leadership. There's some leadership that went on in the dugout after he came out the game, and we'll get into that. But what I want to talk about is the stuff that happened on the field prior, after he left, which was Bryce Collins came in the game, sophomore righty, doesn't have the fastball, like the life on the heater that Money has, but has a little bit of ride. Has a big breaking ball, and he went 3 2/3, gave up 0 runs. Was able to say, you know what, we give up 6 in the 5th.
That's huge, yeah.
We're down 6-2. I'm going to keep them at bay. They're not going to score another run and allow the offense to kind of figure out, okay, let's get rid of this. Let's figure out how to get past this gut punch.
Yep.
You know, we got knocked to the mat. Let's figure out. We're staggered.
Yeah.
Let's get back. They scored a couple runs in the 8th, one run in the 9th, and able to put themselves in a position like that. To me, that's a huge moment for a guy like that to come out the pen and say, you know what, I have your back as a starter. I have your back. I'm going to allow our team to come back and maybe get you off the hook.
Yeah,
and unfortunately we didn't, but it's a huge thing.
And you keep them in the game. That's your job when you're put in there, right? Like. And you guys know this, energy, momentum, all that stuff matters. So the ability to get quicker outs and get your team up and almost put that pressure on them again to defend their lead, right? That's a huge thing. And honestly, when you're a relief pitcher, that's kind of that edge that you need to take into that, right? Because you could be like, damn, they're throwing me in down 4, like, right? There's 2 different ways that you can approach that. Yeah. Or you're like, all right, my job is to throw up a 0 and get our asses in the dugout as quick as possible so we can turn this lineup up again and put the pressure back on them.
What's crazy to me is LSU hits 217 against lefties.
That is crazy.
Right?
It's actually really wild to think.
Obviously, Auburn knows it. They have the stats. They have the numbers, and so they started a lefty. I was talking about him earlier in the show. Is he was 91 to 94, dominating the inner part of the plate. Had a break. It has a slider that was backlegging guys with, and he was doing a lot with it. Right, and umpire was maybe giving him some calls, and he got deep into the game. You have 2 solo homers, but that was it. Then he comes out, the other lefty comes in, he dominates, does the same type of stuff, and keeps the offense that is so potent that LSU has talked, like the hyped offense, at bay, right? I don't understand. I don't know why lefties dominate the team, but I know I was telling him, I was like, as a hitter, and you can attest to this, if a righty's dominating, he said, you know what, I'm going to throw in, right? Lefties are kind of cross-firing into a righty. For me, I would say, you know what, I'm going to give them that part of the plate. If you want to hit me, if you want to prove to me that you can throw 3 straight fastballs on the inner half, if the umpire's going to give you 3 straight fastballs off the inner half, all right, I'm going to give it to you. I'm gonna focus on the middle to outer third, and I'm going to drive the ball through the middle of the field, right? Now, let's say the umpire says, all right, he is giving an inch or 2 off. Then I would flip it, and I'll say, all right, I am looking only in. I am not looking for anything away, right? But
still, that also comes with a guy who's literally up there showing you that he can actually do that pitch after pitch after pitch. Just like you said from the other side, if I'm a left-handed hitter and there's a righty on the mound, and I know he's trying to go front door with everything, it's going to take me a while, maybe 2 at-bats, for me to finally say, all right, he's showing that he can do this. Approach has to change. But for the most part, it's if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to try to hit his best pitches as a hitter, it's going to be a tough day.
Right.
And I'm not sure that they're understanding or actually like going up to the plate with that approach. Like, hey, he's going to pound you in. He's throwing you back foot sliders. He's throwing you heaters in. Make him miss over the plate.
Yeah.
Stop trying to hit his best pitches, because what's happening is if you say, hey, I know he's trying to throw me in, I'm going to hit the pitch in, well, you can also swing at the pitch that's 3 inches off in. That's where you get yourself in trouble.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of I would imagine that they don't have that same approach with a righty, which is why they're hammering righties and struggling lefty, because there ain't many wrighties that's like, oh, I'm just trying to throw you in all day.
Right.
So they're not looking at that part.
And lefties see righties in all the time, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off. I want to keep this thought. Anthony, I know you have to leave. I'm not gonna keep you longer.
I appreciate you. Yeah.
See ya.
Thank you.
Oh, you gotta leave it together. That's very weird.
We're leaving together.
Hey, thank you for having me. As always.
Appreciate it, dude. Yeah, thank you. So now it's just a true threesome here.
That's right.
It's a true threesome. Are you gonna have to fisheye Jay? You're gonna fisheye Jared
I don't know what that means.
with that little fisheye camera?
I can.
I don't know. Do you need to have one shot, or you want both of them, or what? It doesn't really matter. We're on air. We're doing this live. We're ready to go. What I really want, now that our pitcher is out of here, we can really talk all offense, because that's what I want to talk about. It's offense and defense right here, right? So,
Look at you, fisheye.
that's the only term I know for cameras. But I'm looking at this thing. We're gonna do something later on, like a little, probably not that much later on, but it's called 3 up, 3 down. We just made it up. Obviously, 3 up, 3 down is in and out of an inning. 3 outs, 3 batters up, 3 batters down. We're going to go through that. Our 3 ups, 3 downs, I want to highlight the good things that happened in the game and a couple of plays that I'm not saying are bad. I'm not criticizing how they were made. I am just looking at it as watching film of it, watching, being a baseball player and being in it. I want to explain to you what goes through a player's mind in the split second of a play and how they have to make a decision based off of depth, based off, okay, I need to attack this ball, I need to go and charge it. It's a high chopper, it's hit a little softer, it's a little harder. There's a lot of things that go through an infielder or an outfielder's mind on a play, and I just kind of want to talk a little bit about that, because I think those are a lot of the things that you see in the game. You're like, man, how come he didn't make that play? Or, this ball is routine. Like, yeah, they may look routine, but there's things that happen that go through their mind, that there's other factors that happen that go through it, right? That's good.
You take that one.
That's good. We don't need that one. Fuck that camera. And so I want to kind of get into that. And some of these things aren't even baseball plays. Some of these things are, we talked about earlier in the show, is leadership. Talk about some things that happened within the dugout, within the team, that gives me confidence that things could turn around based off of who we have in the dugout and who we have on the team. So let's start it, I guess. Let's just start there. We're gonna go there. We'll talk it through. I think there's gonna be a lot of conversation. So my 3 ups, for me, and I highlighted him on this show a lot, is K. Doty. Love his approach at the plate. I love what he was doing last night. I know he made some defensive play. I know he didn't make some defensive plays. There are some plays that happened defensively that we probably thought he should have made. He would tell you he should have made that he didn't make. But offensively, in the leadoff spot, he has been unbelievable. He's hitting 370 plus on the year. Like, he has been unbelievable. First at bat, Oppo homer. Second at bat, Oppo ball on the warning track, almost homer. Third at bat, same thing. Oppo ball on the track, almost a homer. 9th inning, their closer, his 93 to 96 with a 90-mile-an-hour cutter, right? Like, I can't stress this enough, how easy it is to play baseball watching it on TV or in the stands. Like, baseball, when I watch baseball, I'm like, damn, how do you not hit that ball? How do you not swing at it? Like, that ball's hung. It's a hanging breaking ball. This ball's right down the middle. We forget that this is on TV. We forget that looks easier, right? He goes and he has to face this guy in the 9th inning. They're down 2 runs after the Braden Jobert 2-run homer off a lefty, which is his second in less than a week off of a lefty. He comes in. He has I think he has 2 strikes. The guy throws him a cutter, and he stays on it. He doesn't hit it great, but stays on it, stays through the ball, off the end of the bat, soft single to center field, starts the inning off. Trey Morgan hits the chopper over the first baseman head, 1st and 3rd, and Dylan Cruz comes in with a sacrifice fly, gives him a chance to win. Those at-bats, to me, are the signs of a very mature hitter and a guy who understands his game, understands the game, and is only going to get better. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't try to yank balls.
I'm about to say that's the thing that stands out to me the most about Cade is that you don't really see him up there just trying to pull the baseball. You don't really see him up there trying to steer it the other way. Like, he's just a grinder in the box, and he's going to take whatever it is that you actually are giving to him. So just like you said, he starts the game off. Like how many guys start the game off or their first at bat, and you can sit there and say, "Hey, I'm looking to hit an Oppo homer." He wasn't doing that.
Right.
He took what was given to him.
Yep.
He's done this, that all day, and next thing you know, he's got a guy throwing 93, 96 with a good cutter, and he's just thinking, hey, stay on this thing long enough, and he stayed on one long enough to dump it in the center in a spot where we need base runners.
No doubt. The only way you hit an Oppo homer is if you're on the pitch. You can't think pull and hit opposite field. Now, look, there's some people you talk to, I've talked to in the minor leagues, like, hey, what do you think about when you're in a slump? I think, well, I'm trying to yank everything. And it's usually lefties that tell me, because lefties are weird. Usually lefties tell me this. Oh, I try to yank this ball. When I try to pull a ball, it gets me locked in. I end up hitting the balls opposite field. Like, well, that makes zero sense to me.
So I'm going to never talk to you about hitting.
I'm never going to do that. And I don't ever want to hear what you have to think about hitting, because that makes no sense.
So next time you're struggling, I'm not talking to you.
Don't want to know that. So for me, it's like the only way, especially as a righty, that you're going to drive the ball the other way is if you're thinking either stay up the middle, because I don't even thinking opposite field's not going to do that, because you're going to end up flaring it, you're going to miss it, like it's going to, you're going to start
you end up just
guiding
cutting baseballs and flaring baseballs and stuff,
So thinking up, drive the ball up the middle, and having the approach of that, and not thinking, okay, I'm going to hit this ball over the left field bleachers. Mm-hmm. So he goes, and this even with a lefty who's pounding fastballs in, hammering fastballs into you, he stays with his approach and hits an opposite field homer. 2 at-bats after on the same starter, same thing, just missed them, but great at-bats, right?
Yep.
Sets you up for the 9th inning, like you said, to where a guy is throwing cutters and big-time heaters, 94, 97.
Yep.
With the 90-mile-an-hour cutters are hard. Like, it's a hard, like, a 90-mile-an-hour cutter is, like, probably the average velocity of I don't even say average of college, but like that's a good fastball velocity in college.
It's a really good cutter. Let's be honest. Anywhere
if you got cutter,
if you got a cutter that's 87 plus, and we can get like 4 to 6 inches of movement on that thing, hey, you're doing something special.
He stays on it, gets through it, hits the base up the middle, sets it up for.
I knew 4 to 6 inches was special.
I can't do this.
We gotta get when we do this. We always gotta get dim lighting on.
We do. We need like
mood setting lighting.
We need like mood setting, and we need sound effects. Can you do that? Can I just add more to your plate?
We need to add it for sure. We need to add a saxophone that goes off every time Lloyd starts speaking.
Let me add more to your plate.
I'll get a sound effects for myself.
So that's my first up. Is K. Doty, because I think that he's shown me like the progression from his freshman year to his sophomore year to now has been unbelievable. He's been great.
Yeah.
He's been their best hitter.
Yeah.
Dylan Cruz is they're probably their best player.
Yeah.
K. Doty up to this point has been their best hitter.
Cruz their best player / prospect.
Cruz.
Doty's been their best player.
Yeah, no doubt. Trey Morgan is my second up. Right now he's gonna be on here a couple times, but. Here's another baseball play that goes overlooked, and it was a huge play. It didn't come to fruition that night, but it is a heads-up play. It's a smart play. It is a well-coached play, and it's a smart baseball play. And that's the sacrifice fly that Cruz hit the center. Yeah. That everybody thought was a walk-off. I thought it was a walk-off homer.
Yeah.
I thought he hammered it. That's a 400-foot sacrifice fly.
How'd the air play? Like, was it?
It was
heavy or no last night?
At that night, it was towards the end of the night. It was chilly.
Yeah.
In
any wind?
Early May, late April. That's a homer probably. It's not if it's hot and humid. It's a homer.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He catches it. The center fielder catches it with it back on the wall. Sacked fly. K. Doty scores. Trey Morgan tags up from first to a deep fly ball in center field and gets to second, which puts him in scoring position. He is now the tying run. People are like, well, it's a risky move. Well, no, that's a smart play.
It's not a risky. It's a very advanced, very, very, very fundamentally sound.
If you know you can make it, you do it.
Right.
Because now
I don't care where the ball is. If I know I can get to a base get to it. You take every bag that they're giving you.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Especially when you're down 1 in the 9th inning and there's 1 out. Now you're in scoring position with 2 opportunities. Now you don't have to worry about the double play. You're in scoring position with 2 opportunities to tie the game.
Yeah.
So you go through that. We got a little ring in the background.
Somebody's getting lucky.
All right.
You know? Take your birth control.
I think it was a ring. I don't think it was an alarm.
Cue the saxophone.
I think that was a ring, not an alarm. But he gets to second base, and he puts himself in a position to win. Now, we ended up not getting him in, but those plays over the course of a year, more likely than not, are going to be the difference in games.
Yeah.
Right? Go ahead.
I was just about to say, just to touch on that a little bit, like I've often thought in pro ball,
base running isn't
in pro ball,
stressful.
and I'll go all the way back to even your freshman year, my last year here. Javi Sanchez was like a stickler for how he ran the bases, and I've often thought, like, in pro ball, teams that either don't score a lot or are not very good offensively or don't win a lot of games, you can go back to a lot of the base running they do. It's either very, very, very station to station. They don't push it. They don't hustle. They don't make it the smart plays. And it ends up taking runs off the board at the end of the day.
I've done it. I used to be a good base stealer, bad base runner.
Yeah.
Like, I would do bonehead moves because I was super aggressive.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't think. I wouldn't think about what I would do.
Yeah.
You know, like, I didn't think about the play ahead of time, and it would come back to bite me. And he was a big reason why I became better at that.
Yeah.
You know, like, we worked on it every day. We did these specific things.
Yeah.
My third, and I think this may be honestly the most important one for the long run, is Drew Bianco from last night. He didn't do anything on the field.
I was about to say, now I don't know anything about it. You actually saw this and got some insider from it.
So he didn't do anything on the field, like, as far as like getting a hit or making a play.
Right.
But we talked a little bit about Blake Money. Emotions run high. You struggled. You had a tough inning. They scored a bunch of runs in one inning. It was just one of those things that just snowballed on you, right? Well, he comes out, he's showing some emotion, and he must have said something that Drew Bianco did not like, right? And as a leader on the team and as somebody that has been there, been around it, he came off of the bench into Blake Money, into his space. I don't want to say into his
bubble.
To his little bubble, right? His
like
personal
those
space.
little bubbles.
Which, by the way, before I get into, I'm gonna bring some light into this. I want to get food for lunch for me and Floyd because we're setting this up.
Did you know he's intermittent fasting?
Who is?
Michael.
Coach, I've been doing that for about the past 4
Thank you.
years.
You are too?
Every
Look
day.
at this guy.
I know, but now
He's a mannequin.
Now I know what to do.
He's a fucking mannequin.
Yeah.
That's how I live, kid.
Yeah, Under Armour called.
It allows you. It allows you to.
Dick's Sporting Goods
It,
again.
it allows you to eat what you want, and you don't have to be as strict with your diet. Just
Yeah.
it's good. Are you gonna be on that train?
Hey,
Yeah, well, I think
Little-
I've been
Well, you
doing
don't
it
eat
on
anything.
accident.
You don't
Yeah.
eat anything.
My sandwich is still there.
You eat worse than my wife.
That's a good thing. Look
You eat
at
like a
us.
little like rabbit. You don't even eat one bite, and you don't eat another bite for 2 days. It's
Did
crazy.
you see? Well, she has her LSU cheerleading uniform framed. It's the smallest thing I've ever seen. So it's right track.
We actually got 2 of those framed.
it's the
Home and
smallest
away?
thing I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
home and away. We got the purple and the white.
You could give it
in
to
there.
your child when that happens.
We have my. Ooh, almost. That was almost
Ooh.
bad. That was almost bad. I'm gonna put this over here. I talk with my hands too much. I have all my jerseys, and I have her cheerleading uniform. You know, we gotta add that.
Yeah,
It's
well,
good,
attaboy.
LSU cheerleader, bro. It's, you know.
Yeah, it's no easy task. I'm just saying it's tiny.
Yeah. Back to what I was saying, though. I was bringing light to this conversation. Drew Bianco gets in his little bubble, and he jumps his ass a little bit about whatever he said. Now, I don't know if he was complaining about some of the defense or whatever he was saying, but Drew got in his grill, and to me, that is important for the team, right? You need to have
Super
somebody on the team in the dugout. It doesn't matter if you play or not.
It's better off.
We
if
had
it's,
guys.
I'm about to say somebody, but it's better off when it's somebody's.
Somebody's.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We had guys. I've had guys that I've played with in the past, whether it be college or professional baseball, that maybe weren't even starters, but they had the respect of the clubhouse, and they were the ones that would step up and say something when they needed to be said, right? Like those guys, that's how you build a culture in the clubhouse, in the locker room, of saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to disappoint that guy. I want to play hard for that guy.
Or knowing if I do some stupid shit, that guy is going to be in my face.
Right, and that's, as a coach, as a manager, like, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to be able to you want the players to self-police themselves and know that, hey, all I have to worry about is making sure that I put them in the right position and put them in the right place, and everything else is going to get taken care of, right? And he did that, right? He's a coach's son. He's been around it. He grew up loving LSU. Like,
he grew up in a clubhouse.
He knows it, right? And so he does that. And to me, that's a huge thing for the future, right? Whether or not, look, we're talking about what happened on the field. What?
Jordy's in the chat. What's the latest on Zion?
Get out of here, Jordy.
Go back to Pensacola.
Get out of there. I'm not letting you do that to me. I told you before the show. I don't like
Still
takes.
trap.
I'm not takes. I'm not a takes guy. I don't like takes. But I did have a take, and I'm sticking to my take. He is going to play. But I'm not. I told you. I said that I was going to play.
Oh, we brought this up.
Huh?
We brought this up.
Jordy brought this up in the chat.
No, don't go down that one.
I'm not going down the road. You're right.
Here we are. Jordy Caldwell wave.
Yeah. I'm over this. I can't do it. But you need these guys in the dugout, in the clubhouse, in the locker room to do that. For me, I think that they are 3-4 in the SEC. They lost. Look, they go ahead and win today. They win tomorrow. They win the series. They're right. We didn't anticipate them sweeping this series anyway. They take 2 out of 3. The series is fine. You move on. You're in the same position we thought you were before the series started. But with that, knowing that you have that guy on your team that is not afraid to say something, is not afraid to get in your face, is not afraid to tell you when you're wrong, gives me confidence that, okay, this team has an opportunity. Yeah, that's right. This team's got an opportunity to get to where they need to be because they have the guys on the team that can do it, right? And look, it's not something.
If there was an opportunity or a chance or whatever you want to call it, to right the ship, to be able to get hot and stay hot, you need things like that happening, whether it's behind the scenes or happens to leak out into the scenes. It just is what it is.
I mean, look, I've gotten in fights with my teammates, not because I didn't like them, because I'm a competitive person, they're a competitive person, and we get in each other's face, and we didn't like what each other were doing, and it just happens, right? Like, emotions run high. But we were better for it in the long run. You've gotten in a fight. I saw Coach Maneri literally watch you and Sean Ochinko in the dugout.
My guys.
What happened?
Y'all two
He doesn't know anything about this story.
Hey, have you ever heard the story?
No.
Okay, so
We're best friends.
They are best friends. We're all best friends. This is
best friends do.
And this is why you're best friends, right? It's like a brotherhood. Jared, we're at practice. This was a regional practice or super regional practice, or what was it? What practice was it?
One of the two, honestly. It was like postseason. I remember that.
And Jared is warming up with Sean. That's his throwing partner. And Sean is like talking, laughing, lollipopping shit to Jared. Overthrows Jared like 2 times. Am I saying the story right?
Yeah.
Are you in the outfield and he's on the baseline? Mm-hmm. Oh.
And he lollipops, so Jared goes, gets the first one, throws it back to him.
By the way, I always go outfield just because I'm
the outfielder.
No, because I'm usually the one that's throwing some goofy shit. So, so I would rather you run just to the wall than you having to go all the way. So,
I'm the same. I was the same way.
So I always go to the outfield just because I'm like, one of these I might not. I don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
So
oh, you're left-handed playing right-handed. You're
go.
right-handed playing left-handed.
there
You
you
still
go.
don't know.
There you go. So
He's confused.
Yeah.
So he goes, gets it, comes back, throws it again. Sean's like, makes a little joke. Like, if you know Sean's very funny. He's very charismatic. But he's like, no big deal, no big deal, no big deal, right? Well, it's no big deal, right? Well, Jared didn't like it. So Jared's throwing again. So Jared starts throwing a little bit more with a little more juice. Sean's catching it, talking. Another one, 3 throws later, goes over his head. And Jared's like, go fucking get it, bro. I'm not going to get that. Like, fucking lock it in. This ain't a fucking joke. Go get it. So they got a little, like, whatever. Sean ends up not going to get it. Throwing's over, right? Warming up's over. They're loose. They go out.
let's just start today.
Start today. So Jared
Everything's great.
is out in the outfield, and he's shagging fly balls. And Maneri was very big on you shagging fly balls, like power shagging. Like, you need to take 1 or 2 groups
Hell yeah, Maneri.
of, like, going after the ball. Like, seriously, that is the best outfield drill you can do. Is like
A power shot.
is power shagging the balls. Like, you are literally, the guys are going, you're playing balls live off the bat, and you're trying to go out there and you're making whatever. So Jared goes out there and he goes for a ball, and he clinks one. And Sean is running the bases, and Sean sees it, and Sean yells at him, hey, fucking lock it in, bro. Don't fucking drop that shit. Like, lock it in. So Jared comes into the next group, and Sean's finishing the base running, and they meet up in the dugout.
Well, this is also why Sean's like, while we took BP, we had an outfield group that's hitting, group that's running the bases. This is also why Sean's like lollygagging, half-assing the base running. So, like, I'm in the outfield, power shagging. I can see everything Sean's doing. He's literally, might as well have had a finger up his butt while he's doing the whole thing. Like, just joking around the whole time. So he's yelling at, obviously, he's not really base running because he's watching what the hell I'm doing, right? So that whole thing goes.
So then he comes in, and this is like, look, we're winning. We're in the postseason, like, we're winning. So they meet up, and Sean's not going to back down, and Jared's not going to back down, and they are going at each other, right? They're like arguing. Next thing I know, Jared's got Sean up against the wall by his throat. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, that's our first baseman, that's our starting outfielder. Like, somebody's going to get hurt. Like, what are we doing, right? So we're watching, we're not saying shit. Maneri sees it, he walks up. Our assistant coach is about to try to go break it up, and he grabs him. And he says, no. This is going to be good for us in the long run.
The boy watch.
He said, this is going to be good for us in the long run. So he let it go for a little bit longer. Self-policing, right? Get this shit out, figure it out like men, and then we'll get past it. Then he steps in, breaks him up, screams at him like the whole like eyewash stuff. He's like, "Hey, I gotta like be a coach a little bit right now. Do this, whatever." They're friends after, right? It happens, like it happens. But to be able to do that and have those personalities on the team to be able to self-police is huge, and that is huge because you know that you have been through the shit with your boys. You know that you have gone through the bad times and the good times, and every time you come out of it smelling like roses on that back end. So to me, I know this is a long-winded answer, but to me, like, the Bianco thing is one of my favorite things that I saw from that game because of that, because of the experience that I've seen in the past, right? Like, I've seen people be hard on each other, playing with each other, teammates of each other, being hard on the other guy, saying, hey, you know what, you need to fucking figure it out. Like, this is not what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
And you figure it out. Like, to me, self-policing is the biggest thing.
I don't remember.
You blacked out.
I've always been on the train though, like
Earl's.
Like Earl's.
I spilled on it.
See how quickly karma works?
Karma.
I've always been on the train though. Honestly, it's not about being perfect, but it's about having the effort towards doing the right thing, which gives you the freedom to be able to say something to someone else. So like, I'm not asking you to be the perfect player to make the perfect read to do everything perfect, but if the effort ain't there, then we're missing it anyway. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not actually trying to get this shit done correctly, then what are we doing out here anyway? So, I mean, I think when you have a locker room full of guys that are doing that more times than not, like, it makes the next opportunity that they have, hey, like, say if Blake were to mess up again, or say if Drew were to mess up again, or not be all the way there, the other guy can go to him, especially if he's taking care of his business as far as for putting in the work that needs to be there, and say something. And you can't say anything back to him in those situations.
And look, I wasn't in the locker room. I wasn't in the dugout when that happened. But I know that Drew had to go out there and be a defensive replacement and gave it all. He dove and laid out over the bullpen mound, which is fucking terrible. They need to get rid of that.
Yeah.
They didn't move the bullpens out.
I hate bullpens on the field.
Bullpens, playing right field at LSU is one of the hardest spots you can play. Because, one, a day game, you have unbelievable shadows, and the sun's in your face.
I'm just saying, think of it as this.
Then you got to run up a mountain to catch a baseball.
What if there was a mountain in right center field on the warning track, and the ball gets hit?
It happened.
In Houston.
Yeah, there was. But yeah,
that's why they got rid of it.
But it was 600 feet away when they did.
Right. That's why they got rid of it.
If you hit a ball at that thing, it was like, hey, bro, I don't know what you want me to do. I was never getting back there anyway.
You want me to run uphill and catch the ball?
It's just the goofiest thing ever. It makes zero sense. You're asking someone to get hurt in that. I hate it.
It's hard.
It
sucks.
I hate the benches on the field. I hate it.
Well, look, the right fielder there almost blew his knee out. Drew Bianco runs and tries to catch this ball, lays out, doesn't. But, like, the whole point of saying that is he shows that, like, hey, he's a senior. He's not playing every day. He's not starting. He's not getting a ton of at-bats. But when he's out there, he's trying to make the most of it. He's laying out. He's trying to make a play for the team. Like, he is invested. So he has earned the right to be able to do that. He has been here. He has been part of this team for 4 years through ups and downs. So he's not just doing it for show. He's not just doing it to be as an act. He's doing it because he wants it and he believes it, and he shows it by his effort. And Todd Walker was doing the broadcast last night, mentioned that. And he was the reason why I even brought this up, because I saw it as I'm watching it in the stands. I didn't get to hear the broadcast till later, but he's talking about, hey, this guy comes out there, gives it his all, dives and lays out for this ball, gives up his body, and he is the leader in the clubhouse, because you saw what he did with Blake Money. So I didn't get to see it. I don't know what was said, but I just know I can see body language, and to me that is a very positive thing, right? Now, I spent 30 minutes talking about positives. I don't want to spend as much talking about a little bit of the negatives, right? We've talked about defense. We talked about the emotions that are happening in the game, right? So 3 up and 3 downs, right? Like, we don't have 3 downs. That's a good thing. I couldn't get to 3 of them. But 2 things, these aren't downs. These aren't things that I'm saying like, oh, these are bad. Like, this guy is not good, or he did something wrong. I am just saying, hey, this is what goes on, right? The one that I want to talk about the most is the chopper to Trey, right? In the 5th inning, bases loaded, 2 outs. They had a chopper to the first baseman, and it's a high chopper. He hammers it right into the ground. It's a high chopper. And at this moment, you have to make a decision. Okay, do I need to come and get it? I got to come and play the short hop, or do I drop step and I'll play the long hop? If you play the long hop, you are either sacrificing time because it's going to take longer for the ball to get there and the guy's going to beat it out, or you give him an opportunity for it to hit and kick or take some weird funky hop on you.
The more hops you give it, the more chance you give it a chance to do whatever it wants.
Exactly.
Or whatever the field says it.
So for me, the move was to go and get it. He decided to go and get it, right? Right decision. This is all happening as the ball is being hit. Like, this is split-second decisions. So he decides to go and get it. He gets to it, and he tries to slide and make the pick to get the out, make the great play, which would have been awesome. If he makes the play, we're not talking about it, whatever. The ball gets underneath, gets to the outfield, and the merry-go-round starts, right? Not an error, not something that's going to show up in the box score, but something that Trey would probably tell you he would have probably should have made that play.
Feels like he should,
right?
He needs to.
And I've been in there. I've been in that position where I should have made a play, or I thought I should have made a play, and I didn't, and it came back, and runs are scored, right? I'm just giving a perspective of the player. In that situation, with the bases loaded and 2 outs in that inning, like, you can feel as a player, like, hey, we're winning 2-0. We are winning 2-0 at this time. They haven't really done much. This is their top of the lineup. Their best hitter just got intentionally walked. This is probably their moment to capitalize, right? You feel that. You know that as an athlete. You know that as a baseball player. You go in there and you get that, and you feel you got to say, okay, I don't care. Even if I don't make this play and I don't get this out, this ball cannot get to the outfield.
Yeah.
I have got to tackle it. And I wish Sean Ochinko was in here, because Sean was not a great fundamentally sound first baseman. He's a catcher by trade. He was a catcher in professional baseball. But Sean Ochinko, when he played 2009, when he played first base, Sean tackled every single baseball that got hit to him. Like, I'm talking about.
It's still in a chest protector.
I'm talking about
tackling.
Like,
tackle baseball.
Like, if there was a ball,
and I don't mean it as a
he
slight
would
to him
smother
either.
it.
Because, like, if you ever played catch with a guy, like, he's got unbelievable hands.
Right.
No, like, literally, like, for whatever reason, you feel like every ball he catches in the middle of the body. Like, you feel like you can throw it anywhere and he's going to catch it. But when he played first, he made it a mission in his mind that if the ball gets hit over here and I can get to it, it's not going to the right field grass.
Right. And so he would smother it, right? He would act like a catcher. And I'm not saying that Trey has to do that, right? You don't. But you need to make sure, hey, instead of trying to make that sliding, or he's left-handed, so make that sliding grab, let me just go there and try to make the catch come here and
just
keep
like
it in front of me,
just
right?
like,
Like, I'm not saying he did anything wrong.
No, it's not about wrong. It's just about understanding. And some of this sometimes comes with experience of playing the game, but it also comes with thinking before the play, meaning, like, and you have to do the same thing in the outfield. it's always great. I would love to make the great highlight reel best play every time, but there is situations for it and there is times for it. And there comes a time where we need to either have shutdown innings or we need to minimize runs in this situation, meaning minimizing bases as well. Right. Meaning that, hey, it would be great to make this play, but it would also suck if these boys got to the outfield. So if I can't get an out right here, this ball needs to go nowhere else but here.
Right.
Other than getting to the outfield, now we're running and now we're giving up runs in those situations. So it's understanding those things. Like I said, sometimes that comes with experience, but it also comes with that's another level of thinking before the play actually happens.
Anticipation.
That's it.
Look, I'm sure he anticipated the play going. I'm sure he anticipated making the play. And that's great. And, you know what? If that happens 8 or 9 more times, he probably makes that play more times than not. But in that situation, you cannot allow the inning to snowball. Yeah. And then what happened after that is the guy went first or third, the next guy hit a 3-run homer.
Yeah.
And just that is, and
it's like the thought process of, just think of it this way. I'm an advocate.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
No, because
but think about it this way. Think about it this way. It's just going a little bit further in the sense of, like, say if I'm in the outfield, and what do they always say as an outfield? Balls that are hit to you, hit to the gap or whatever, hit the what?
Cutoff.
Hit the cutoff, right? Okay, that's great. So if you're taught and you're drilled, hit the cutoff, hit the cutoff.
Not good either.
Yeah, hit the cutoff, hit the cutoff, hit the cutoff. There is a time where I'm like, cutoff makes no sense right now.
I gotta fucking hurl it.
So if I got a guy on third,
do or die,
2 outs, fly ball.
No.
I'm catching this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, 1 out, fly ball. I'm catching this. I don't give a damn about no cutoff. I'm throwing this ball to the bag as best as I can. So if I got to throw it 5 feet over and he's got no chance to catch it, but I got a chance to get this out, that's where I'm throwing. There's nothing to cut off. There's no one to deceive. There's nowhere for this ball to go. I'm catching it. Cutoff man don't even need to be there. He might as well just move. Like situations, like it's just knowing.
Through him.
Yeah, it's just knowing situations. It's understanding that and realizing that before the play actually happens.
Yeah, I think he did. I think I'm not blaming him. That's a tough play. That's a very hard play to make.
It's not even an easy play. Just keeping it in front of you. No, like either one of them.
And that same result could have happened if he tried to go in front of you, right? Like it's.
Well, no, I mean, you're picking very small things because of what he did. He was trying to make a. That's the only way he felt like he could probably get it out at first.
Yeah, the flashier play to get the out.
To get the out.
Sometimes you need to minimize the bases.
Exactly, because you saw what happens when you don't have Trey Morgan at first base. When you saw, I don't know, Babe Ruth Jr. over there for Auburn, he drops a pop fly like that. Trey Morgan doesn't do that. Like we take for granted the special.
I know how he is he is elite,
and I feel like he catches so much shit because of how good he is.
When he saves a bunch of errors.
Exactly. Nobody notices that.
No doubt.
Oh, of course. Good.
And he's elite at first base.
I agree with you.
I'm not criticizing him as a player.
Yeah.
I'm pointing out a specific play a situation that
altered the game a little bit
in that situation, right?
It altered the game a little bit last night. Yeah, it's fair to say that.
But
it's another error on the defensive.
But it's not an error.
I know, but if you're Blake Money and you saw how he reacted to it, and you saw what he felt the defense did, that in their mind, it's like, now I have to pitch perfect. Because it feels like the defense is always waiting for that error to loom, or like a pitcher on the mound is always waiting for that domino to fall because they've been so bad defensively that when they see one, they're like, fuck, here we go. And guess what happened? Boom, another ball, error right after that. Like,
well, and look, there's some other things. Like earlier in the game, they dragged bunt down the field, down the line, right? Great bunt.
They're picking on them.
Great bunt, actually. Trey fielded it. And the guy beat Blake to the bag, right? I'm not saying that Blake went to first. It was a great bunt. It was hard enough to where Trey had to field it, and it was in a position where it was just in a no man's land, and the guy beat him there, right? And Trey decided that he was going to go try to get him instead of flipping it, and I think Blake thought he was going to be able to get him out. I don't think he would have beat him to the bag. I don't know, but I don't think that he would have beat him to the bag. Those plays, like those little plays right there, they just make a big difference. And we talked about it last week in the SEC of how small the margin is, right? And like I said, this is not an error on him, but if that play is made, the game is probably a different outcome, right? And that is all I'm trying to do is bring light to how small the margins are in conference play of the SEC. That's it. So that's my first one that I want to talk about. And the second one we kind of hit on a little earlier, the emotions. Really emotions. I don't want to single out, but the emotions. Like Blake Money showed a lot of emotions on the mound, right? And he's going to learn from it. He's going to get better from it. And I'm not saying that it was the reason why he gave up the 6 runs. But you have to somehow, and this is, this is probably the kettle, what is it? What's the saying?
I call it the kettle tan.
Black. I mean, Jesus, Lord.
Didn't want to do that. I mean,
Jesus, Lord.
right there.
This guy.
Jesus Lord.
Wow.
2022, dude. I
Wow.
get nervous.
I'm the pot calling the kettle. I'm a very emotional person, and I do let the emotions I used to let the emotions get the best of me a lot. I still sometimes do, right? But someone who has been through it and gone through it, I think that I can relate to it and I can speak on it, because you can ask Coach Maneri, like, hey, he had to get in my ass a lot of times. Don't give me that look.
Too many things.
I mean,
Jesus, Lord.
I can't say anything right now.
Say anything.
I can. You say it with your eyes. You say it with your eyes. Yeah, you say it with your eyes. Maneri used to
In your ass.
yell at me because of that. He used to have to motivate me to get past that, because I wanted it so bad, and I wanted to play well so bad that sometimes I would get so frustrated that I would let the emotions get the best of me. And sometimes I would yell at the umpire. Sometimes I would yell or do something that, hey, you need to show better body language. Right?
I would say when we're speaking sports, for every emotional player, there has to be that one coach, that one player, that one friend to reel it back in.
Yes.
Just is what it is.
And look,
to tell you the
emotions
truth, that this is what's going on, that you are doing a little too much, and we're gonna need to
Emotions
reel
are
you back
good.
in.
Our emotions are
No, they're great.
Being
They're
emotional is great.
No, they're great.
Like, that is a great thing to have. But you also need to realize, like, all right, I have got to reel this thing in. I have to understand that my body language
It's a detriment to the team.
is
at a point.
exactly my body language. A lot of people are looking at my body language. I am hitting in the 3-hole, and
I think
a starter.
Anthony touched on it best when he said, whatever, just like as soon as I let go of that pitch, as soon as that call is called, as soon as that play has happened, it is now in the past. And I need to focus on what is about to happen right now. I can no longer do anything about
What's
what
next?
just happened.
What's next?
Go ahead
What's
and go
next?
on to the next one.
No doubt. And look, I know it builds up, especially when there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays that happen in a row that start to get on you, wear on you. Like, it wears on you. It does. It's hard. But you can't show the umpire up. You know, we've talked about it on the show. I'm good for an ejection a year during, like I told you, I have been there. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I've learned from it. I know it. I know that it's wrong. You can't show the umpire up on the mound, because he's not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. It's not going to happen. And you really can't show up your teammates and your boys, because they aren't going to take into it. And that goes back to the Bianco thing. I think he stepped in, and like you said, you need somebody to bring you back. And I think that is what happened.
I hope that's what happened.
I hope that's what happened. I hope that is it. I hope that he brought him back to, like, hey, I know you're frustrated. I know you're pissed off. I'm sure he didn't say this calmly. I know you're frustrated. I know you're pissed off. But hey, whoa.
Everybody's looking at you right now.
We got some shit. We got some shit we need to figure out. Like, we're still in this thing. Like,
you can't let your personal
it
shit
ain't
get in the way
about
of
what
the
happened to
team.
you. It's about what's going on. Like, the game's not over. It's not the 9th inning. We need to figure out. We need to get the team. And you can see for a couple innings, the team was like reeling a little bit. Like, they got punched in the jaw and they were staggered. And they're like, whoa, we don't know where we're at a little bit right now. And they finally got their footing again. Joe Bear, which I can't talk enough about him, but he is oomph. I mean, look, he had 2 strikeouts and a fly out. Like that, he didn't really hit very well. Lefty, in the 8th inning, 2-run homer, boom, puts it right back in the game. It's a big. This guy's got 10 homers on the year. 10.
I think it's safe to say at this point he's a swing away. Like,
Yeah.
you just
Don't matter.
he's a swing away, and then it might turn into what it's
I
turned
did
into the
call
last
it,
4
though.
games.
I did call it. I said, hey, this ball's going to be a line drive over the first fence.
Should have been texting.
Should have texted it to you, but I did say it. A lot of people say that. Every time you hit a home run,
Somebody said it.
I called that. I called that. Like,
Somebody said it somewhere.
How many
actually really
times-
cool. It's actually cool to be the one that does call it.
yeah, like how many times did you call it? You called it 4 times in a row. Like, of course, at some point it's going to happen. If I call it every at bat, at some point you're going to hit a homer. You know, like, but
The
there's
people that
times
remember when you called it.
there's times where you feel the game and you're like, you look back and there's a lot. Like you feel like, damn, like he took a pitch or he took a swing or guys on the mound. Like you feel it and you're like, hey, he's about to hit a homer, and it hits it. And you're like, told you, I just felt it. You just feel it, right? When you call it, it's great. I looked at my father-in-law. I was like, hey, he's going home run, right field, line drive. I just feel it. Boom, home run. I was like, yes, got it. I got it. Called that karma. But my point is, for those 2 innings, between the 5th and that inning,
They were punch drunk.
they were staggered, right? Like they weren't locked in. And I'm not saying that is what caused it, but if a guy comes off and he is a little bit more into it and not down on his boys or whatever happened, it is easier for the team to rally behind it. And that's kind of what I wanted to hit on. I'm not criticizing.
No, it's like
You know,
you said, it's good to be emotional. It
It is great to be emotional. And look, he's going to learn. He's going to be better for it. But you have to know when the times are and when the times aren't to do it. And putting your boys in a position
where they feel like they're
to
taking
doubt
blame,
themselves
right?
or doubt you is not the time. You know, and that's kind of it, right? You want your guys to fight for you. You don't want to bring them like it's always. It's like a quarterback says. It's always when it's a loss, it's on him. When it's a win, it's on everybody else, right? That is the sign of a leader, and that's the sign of an ace. That's the sign of a quarterback. It's the sign of your best player, whatever. That's what happens. And if you want to have that role and you want to be in that role,
Comes with it.
that comes with it. So that's my
What's the most emotional thing you've done in the dugout where after you were like, oh boy? Oh.
I mean, do we have enough time to talk about this?
It's my specialty.
I mean, the most emotional thing.
Just go for LSU.
Okay.
That you were like, Paul's going to get my ass.
Well, Paul, I didn't tell that story about when I like came in after the home run?
No,
I didn't tell it on there?
I don't think so.
I thought I told it I'll tell it again. It was my sophomore year. We were playing at home against Arkansas. And you know this. You can attest to this. It was a Sunday game. Saturday or Sunday game. And it was Sunday. It was a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. And it was overcast. Like, it wasn't cold, but it was just overcast early. You had a 4:30, 5 o'clock game the night before. Like, you know, you come out a little sluggish. It's like the sun's not shining. You're not real amped up to play. Drew Smiley is pitching. Either Drew Smiley or I think it was Drew Smiley who was pitching. Drew Smiley's a lefty, still in the big league, so was throwing mid-90s. First inning, I get up to bat with runners on second and third, and I get 0-2 or 1-2, and he throws an elevated fastball and I swing through and miss. Right? It was kind of like at bat wasn't great. I took a fastball down the middle, I swung at a ball, and then I chased up. It just wasn't a good at bat. I come in, I put my helmet into the dugout, and I was like at that time there's no railing on the baseball field. We had
True. I forgot we had.
we had open
it was just
dugouts.
open dugout.
Super old school. So I was sitting on the top step, and like that was part of me telling myself I can't sit and slouch on the dugout. Like I have to even if I'm mad, I gotta still be on the top step. That was just me. That's what I would try to tell myself. So I was on the top step, and I was on there, whatever. And I was like closer to Maneri, and Maneri looked at me and said, "Hey, you went out last night? Did you go out?" I was like, "What?"
Personal question.
I was like, "No." I was like, actually, I was sleeping by midnight. Like I was sleeping. Like he's like, "Are you lying to me?" I was like, "No, I didn't go out." He's like, "You look like you went out." I was like, "I didn't go out, Coach. I was sleeping by midnight." Like,
back and forth between
like, what do you want me to do? I was sleeping
I'm not lying to you.
I was sleeping by midnight, and he was like, "Oh, so this guy." He said some other words, but he goes, "Oh, this guy's just better than you." I'm like, what? He was like, "I don't know. He just blew your ass away. He looks like he's better than you." He was like, "He's better than you?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Well, he's playing better than you. He's embarrassing you." And he, like I said some other choice words that I did not like. So I'll walk away from him, and he follows me. And he is still talking shit to me. about this guy being better than me and this guy basically making me look like whatever. I'm not saying it because, whatever. But so I get to the thing, and Maneri's, I think I did tell the story. Maneri's move was a little bit of water or Gatorade.
Like 6 drops.
Like I'm talking about like
Little splash.
a splash. And he would sip it and throw it down. Right? That's what he would do.
Like if you went to a bar and they gave you a shot like this, you'd be like, "That's not the. Where's the
It's
rest of it?
nothing.
I'm not paying for that."
Yeah, that was his move. So he does that. I'm getting water. He does that. He walks behind me, and he's still yelling. He's basically in my ear. And I said, "Coach, you need to
Get
move.
the fuck away from me.
You need to leave away from me because I don't want to say or do something that I'm going to regret. And I'm frustrated. Get away from me." He was like, "This guy is embarrassing you."
He doubled down.
Yeah.
Paul's a maniac. I had no idea that
And
he was
so
like this.
I'm going back, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Oh my God, like I'm gonna fucking kill somebody." So I go back in. I'm not even happy anymore. I go back into the outfield, come back in, next at bat, runners on second and third, same situation, 1-2 pitch, throws the same pitch. I hit a home run to right center field. I am sprinting around the bases. I'm not happy. I'm happy, but I'm not happy. I am sprinting around the bases, and I get into the dugout, and then that's when you have like the whole all the guys come out. I get into the dugout, and I take my helmet off, and I slam it into the bat rack. I shatter our pitching coach's sunglasses. I look at him, I was like, he's not fucking better than me. He's not better than me. You don't fucking talk to me that way. No way. And I get fired up, and he smiles. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to get me in that
Pushed all the
mode
right buttons.
and piss me off to put me in that mode, right? Because I play better when I'm pissed off. And that is emotion, right? Like he knew, okay, I need to see that emotion from him at this moment. And that's when I showed emotion for the good part. Now, there's other times where I showed emotion. Like I wasn't a big helmet slammer. I got in trouble for that in Team USA one time, and I stopped doing it. And I wasn't a helmet slammer, but there's times where I would get super frustrated, and it was a detriment. But that was an example of a good emotion, and he's had plenty of emotions.
For some reason, I just don't really remember the good ones. I only remember the
All the bad
the really
times.
bad ones. Those are the only ones that kind of stick in my mind. I wish Anthony was here. The best one I've ever had. I wish he was still here for. He was in AAA. I was in AAA. He was in Pawtucket, and I was in Charlotte. I think you've heard the story before.
I think so.
One of our good friends who he grew up with, this story would be so much better if he was here. I'm like, tell it. It'd be so much better if he was here because
He saw it.
what I'm going to tell you sounds like, oh, you're a hitter. Of course, that's what you.
And you can kind of see why everybody that we played with in 2009, 2010, 2011, we're all super tight. We're still brothers. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't just to happen here. It was we all had the same mentality,
Yeah.
and we all hung out. It was that's the big reason why we won.
The funny part about it was, like I said, I wish he was here because he could attest to the other side of the story of because when I tell it, it's going to be oh, it's just a hitter. Of course, that's what you thought. So he's on the mound. He started that day. I'm hitting. This is 2013. It's by far, no, it's 2014. I'm as annoyed with the situation that I'm currently in as I've probably ever been in my life with anything, right? Anthony's pitching. He's throwing well. It's probably the 5th or 6th inning. Is either a runner on first or a runner on first and third. I don't remember which one it was. I have an at bat against him. We're down by 1 maybe. Probably one of the top 3 furthest balls I've ever hit in my life off of Anthony. I'm talking an absolute moonshot.
And I'm opposite. I don't ever hit good off my friends.
Hey,
ever.
down the right
Give me
field
every time.
line. Lloyd, when I tell you this ball it stayed as true can be, and it never curved, it never took off going right. Only reason I ran down the line at all was because I realized that that's what was going on, and it was as fair as can be.
Yeah.
It was as fair as
I
can be.
can't watch this anymore. I gotta go.
As fair as can be,
The
right?
softball truck. I'm just
Yeah.
going to hit first and turn around.
I get to about first base, and the ball still hadn't landed yet. Umpire at first goes, foul ball. And I go, what? And I look at him, and he looks at me in my face, dead in my face, and goes, Jared, that ball was too high and too far, so I just called it foul. This is why I'm telling you I wish Anthony was here to tell this story, because The guy that he's friends with, who now works for Boris, Jay.
Yeah.
Now works for Boris, was catching. Anthony was pitching, and they will both tell you straight up, even from their vantage point, they were like, dude, I didn't even think it was close. It was by far fair. Have no clue how this guy called a foul.
I love umpires so much.
Hey, I don't know how he didn't toss me from my retreat from first back to home plate, but just imagine that this is how bad it was. 2 or 3 pitches later, because one of these pitches, Anthony's like taking time in between, because like I said, runners are on. So he comes set, kind of taking time, holding the runner. I call time 3 times before he starts to pitch. Umpire doesn't give it to me. I ground out to second. As I'm running down the line, I am literally losing my mind. I touch first. They just literally force play at second, innings over. I touch first, slam my helmet before I even turn around. The home plate umpire tosses me out of the game. Gone. Like that.
You're not even mine to toss. I want it from him.
I don't even remember if I like even went off after that, but like literally that like little 2-minute area of how that whole thing happened and where the game was, where I was currently in my career, like it was probably the most frustrated I've ever been playing baseball. It was and like I said, I wish he was here because he will literally tell you. He actually said something about it he said, I don't remember what was going on, but he said something about it because he knows. Like it's a great story, and it was by far fair. And we went out after the game too for a little bit just to grab a drink. Me, him, and the guy that was catching. Yeah, me, him, and the guy that was catching. And he was like,
it's a great place to be.
He was like, dude, he hit it, and he was like, when he called foul, he goes, I put my glove over my face because I couldn't believe he missed that call. Like that's how bad of a call it was. It was an awful call.
That's why Anthony was stepping off. He's like, I can't pitch right now. I'm laughing.
Let me give you. And then here, you want to know the best part about it too? Moral of the story: I finished that year with 19 homers. Could have finished with 20.
That's baseball.
Quick, this is, and we're gonna get. I want to get into a little bit of a preview for the night tonight. But before, so we were playing them in Durham when this is 2014 or 14. This is 2014. We're playing against them in Durham, and we have our fantasy football draft that night, and we're winning. We are winning by like 2 or 3 runs, and we keep talking like, hey, because he was coming to my apartment, and we were going to do the fantasy football draft together.
Now, mind you, tell a story before of it. We're on the East Coast. All of our boys that are pretty much in this league are at this time. So we're an hour ahead, and they're like, hey, we want to set this for this time because we kind of have a party for it. We don't want it to last too late, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead.
So we are sitting there. I'm like, oh, like we're talking. Like he like maybe flew out, did something. I'm coming in from center, and he's like running first, and like we talk, and I'm like, hey, this is going right, great, like good pace. We're up by 3. Like let's just get out of here. We're gonna go grab some food. We're gonna get to the house, get to the apartment, have this thing. He's like, great. Talking about who we're gonna draft
with like time to spare too. We're like, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect.
So we don't have to rush.
Won't be in a rush.
We're good. Next thing I know, our pitcher just forgets how to throw strikes. Starts walking everybody. The game starts crawling by. Give up 1 run. Give up 2 runs. Give up 3 runs. I'm like,
pitching changes.
Oh
Everything is slow a game now.
And so I'm in center field, and Jared, we're not even close to each other, and we're looking at each other, and I'm just like this, and he is doing this. I'm like, we're not gonna make it. We're gonna miss the draft. We're gonna have to auto draft our draft. Like I'm getting mad,
salty,
right?
Very, very locked into the game.
Hey,
salty.
Yeah.
I'm talking. I'm at the end of the dugout. I'm looking at him in center. He's like, and I'm at the end of the dugout like what's going on here?
So we get to this is the bottom of the 8th.
Tell him I want Reggie.
So we get to is it the 9th or 10th?
Top of the 9th.
Top of the 9th.
Yeah. Top of the 9th.
Jared comes up, 2 outs, 2 strikes, runners on first and second. He hits an absolute bomb. Like, I'm talking about 25 rows deep into right center of Durham in, like, the summer, which is a hard place to play. He's rounding first, rounding second. He's looking at me. I'm like, yes. He gets in there. We don't score runs. We go. Like, we get home. I'm like, thank God. Like, I don't want to lose. But like, this is game 97 in the year, and we were already in first place, and we were playing well, like we were good. I was like, I couldn't miss this draft. we had to make the draft. Like we ended up winning the league. Like it didn't matter. I was like, we didn't want to go to extras. That's
it was funny. Like I remember,
I
think there was video if you can find it, but I remember like rounding second. And I'm like looking in center field, like we're going on. And I remember touching home plate. And there's like a camera view from like the first base camera well. And like I touch home plate, and we were in the third base dugout. And I, make the little turn, and I'm going there. I remember looking back, like once I passed the pitcher, and then it kind of kept going. We're going home.
You're welcome.
Like as long as we go through, we're going home.
That's a little insight. There's so many minor league stories. Minor league stories don't get enough love, but they are so many. God, it's good times.
Yeah,
good times.
that was pretty
But okay, I was anticipating ending this at 5, but give a little bit of a recap. A little bit of a preview of the game tonight. Right. Back to LSU baseball. Talked about all the stuff, all the goods and all the bad and good stuff that we had that went through it yesterday. All that being said, they lost one game. They can go ahead and win tonight and win tomorrow, and go ahead and win 2 or 3, take the series, be in the driver's seat exactly where they need to be. They have. I don't know. Have they announced a starter, Jack?
I'll check right now. It should be Floyd.
Ty Floyd or
Maybe.
Mikael Hilliard? I don't know.
Allegedly.
That's out there.
It's got to be out. It's got to be out. LSU baseball website.
It's 5
LSU
o'clock.
website stinks.
It's 5 o'clock. Then it's got to be out.
Somebody's out there throwing.
Twitter's been touched in 5 hours from LSU.
Nothing. Okay. Ty Floyd probably.
Did they announce that they
Somebody's
lost
going to start.
yesterday?
Whoever starts for LSU, whoever's on the mound, whoever gets to start,
Blake Money again.
go out there, throw strikes, get clean innings, get the guys in, and defense just go out there and make the plays. I think that they will rebound. I think they'll get to the starter, whoever the starter is for Auburn.
Unless he's lefty.
I still think they'll get to him. I think they'll score some runs. They'll get into the bullpen early today. Take the strength away.
You're so optimistic. It's hard to bet whenever you talk like this.
Take the strength away from
Can't even come up with
Auburn,
three
which is
bad
the strength
things
is their
about a
bullpen.
loss.
Exhaust their bullpen early. Win the game.
Win the
game.
That is another positive that we didn't talk about from last night.
They used their closer for almost 2 innings
yeah,
yesterday.
They got to the heavy part of their bullpen. So even if they are available today, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, and look, the lineup, they started scoring runs towards the end. They scored 3 runs in the last inning and a half. Like, I think they built some momentum going into today. It's a Friday night game. They're gonna go ahead. Let's say they win this game. Then you go to Sunday. You're 1-1. It's a 1:00 game. It's a getaway day on Saturday. You win. The boys get to go out and party at Fred's or wherever they like to party now.
Uncle
Take it
Earl's.
off.
That's the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series are awesome.
Yeah.
Because you go ahead and you win the series.
Think
There is
about
no
that.
Sunday fun day. You have Saturday night.
in
And you
Tiger
got
Stadium.
and you got Sunday. Whatever you want to
Sunday.
do. So I think the boys.
Ugh.
I think the boys come out. I think they take care of business today. I think they take care of business tomorrow. They take the series. They win 2 out of 3. They put themselves in the driver's seat.
And move on to the next.
I think they understand what's at stake. I think they know they should win the series, and they go ahead and win. There's not much of a preview other than they need to field it, catch it, throw it, and pitch it and hit it, and win the game. That's how they do it. They score more runs than the other team, you win. I think they're going to play better baseball. I think they're going to make some of the plays that they need to make, and they're going to come up with it. Hopefully, the offense puts them in a position where they don't have to make the plays
Well,
don't matter.
that's where
like,
they
you know what
are
I mean?
right now, right? You have to depend on scoring almost. It's Pac-12 baseball is what they're playing.
No,
you
not
have to
necessarily.
score 8 to 10 runs a game to win.
Not necessarily. I mean, you just. I mean, look, it's not talent. It's not because of talent. They're not making the play because they're not talented enough. You know, one ball goes. It's very weird plays. It's tough plays, but it's plays you have to make. And I think they will eventually make the plays. I'm very optimistic. Like I said, I'm a very optimistic person
LSU minus 195 to win. Money line. Why do they keep doing that?
because it's
Make
hard.
it
It's
impossible
too
to
hard.
bet.
It's too hard to
Over under, what do you think it is?
on
Today?
Saturday. Number 2 starter.
What was the score last night? 6-5.
Yeah, I would say
I'd say
the
12.
over/under 13 and a half.
12, 13, yeah.
You go,
12 and a
I don't
half.
count that. You got it at the buzzer.
I got the buzzer.
13 and a half.
That was pretty good.
It is 13 and a half.
Is it really?
Yes. But that was that last night. Like, you can't take it. It's
I
not,
would-
it's
I
not
would-
fun to bet LSU baseball because I don't know what I'm getting.
No,
it's
it's
supposed
not.
to be
It's
fun.
hard.
It's
It's
tough.
hard.
It's
It's
college.
hard.
I mean, it's tough.
Help me, help them.
I don't know. I think they win. I think they take the series. That's my recap. That's my preview of the game.
I can't mind.
Go out there, enjoy the boys.
195.
Perfect weather for baseball this weekend. Go out there and have fun. I'm glad people showed up for happy hour.
Hey, first
gonna-
one, dude.
Yeah,
You
so-
kidding me?
no, I'm
It's
just
a
joking.
madhouse back
The
here.
gonna-
hours will get happier.
We're gonna build this, and we're gonna create a happy.
People here, what are you talking about?
We're gonna create this happy hour. We're actually gonna have watch parties in here. They are in the process of redoing this VIP room. We are VIPs apparently. This is our room. Our room.
Our room.
It's the mic'd up room. They're gonna create this. You're gonna make this
You see this tag?
a big
way I
big
get it.
atmosphere to have watch games, bet on games, drink with us, have fun with us. We're also creating a community which we will pub next week. Lloyd's doing a lot of research for us. I'm not good at it. That's Lloyd's homework over the weekend.
I do. Jordy's out of town, dude. I can do homework. No unexpected calls.
Where's he?
Okay.
Where's he at?
You go to Panama. Panama City.
Like the Panama City, not Panama.
Florida.
Yeah, you meant like real Panama?
Panama is the country.
Yeah, like the
If
other
he's
country.
going there, you got to host Monday 2 shows. Jared, you're in. Let's go.
I guess we should go through the whole our segments that we have. We have segments. I guess we should probably go through the segments that we have. We don't have what's for lunch. We already passed lunch. Our now nice sponsors of those. We put them on there in full display.
Yes.
Do you have a curtain call?
No, for you to go first so I can look at Twitter and find a good one.
I mean, Jesus.
Look, you know what my curtain call is? Me, goddammit. I hooked up this whole fucking studio and with Joe. Joe's my curtain call.
I know, unusual.
Yeah, thank you.
Sean Taylor.
Oh, yes.
What about
Sean
Sean
Taylor?
Taylor?
I didn't know if that was
Oh, it's
April
his birthday
Fool's.
today, huh?
It's his birthday.
Jesus.
Well, I'm scared to touch any of those subjects after Jackson Mahomes.
It's his birthday.
You're scared to touch Jackson Mahomes?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I'd kill him. See red.
My curtain call. I hate. Like I said,
Hate.
absolutely hate April Fools. So my curtain calls for all the people that do not fall for April Fools jokes. All these journalists that have these things that they want to say, like reports, breaking news. Get out of here with that shit. Okay? I've had 3 people in our group text throw out these breaking news. I'm like, hey, it's April Fool's days, guys. Like, these aren't real. Julian Edelman says he's going to play for the Bucks. April Fools.
Actually, couldn't believe that.
But that's my point. You do something that's believable. You can't do something that's unbelievable because nobody believes it. If it's believable, that's why it's a good April Fool's. I don't like April Fool's.
What Mikey's telling you is that he's pretty gullible, so you can't just tell him anything. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I saw
that's the
that.
thing. That's the question.
Anthony Davis is out for the year.
Yeah, I figured that.
April Fools.
I figured he would be, though. He hasn't
Nah,
played.
He's
forever.
playing tonight.
Is he active tonight?
He's supposed to be, yeah.
Against the Pels.
Maybe that's April Fool's.
Fools.
Maybe that's April Fool's. Activated April Fool's.
Activated
LeBron, April
James.
Fool's.
April Fools.
LeBron James, April
Zion
Fool's.
Williamson, active. April Fools.
No, that's not April Fool's. Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Cover
Who knows?
yourself.
Who knows? Maybe I was just prepping my April Fool's joke early. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the bullshit. Thanks for listening to stories.
Today was not a bullshit episode. Today
No, it wasn't
yeah.
bullshit, actually. It was good.
It was good.
I gave a lot of baseball insight. It was all baseball show today. No other sports.
Clips were great.
What's that?
The pitching clips were great.
What pitching clips?
I was talking about pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Numbies.
Is it putting numbies out?
Twitter.
Nice. Love numbies.
Big Twitter show.
Big Twitter show. Also, we gotta admit, we gotta say, it's not just a baseball show; it's an all sports show. So March Madness is still going on. If y'all didn't know, college basketball is still alive.
Tomorrow night.
There is still March Madness. I don't know why they took forever. It's always been a week in between games.
Between the Elite Eight and the Final Four.
Is it always like that?
Yeah, because it'll go tomorrow night, day off Sunday.
So yeah,
championship
they
on
got
Monday.
both games tomorrow night, and then you got the finals. You have Duke, North Carolina, which Anthony took a futures for Duke to win. I know you hate it.
Smart.
And
Smart.
then you have Nova and Kansas. I think it's gonna be Duke, Kansas, the Blue Bloods in the finals.
Yeah, that's hard.
That's
I
me.
think Villanova's
But-
the guy.
But
so
that's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in.
Curtain call. U.S. House lawmakers just voted to decriminalize marijuana. Curtain call to the House of Reps.
And there he is.
There he is.
Exactly at
There he is.
420
521.
on one of the coasts. It's 420.
420 Mountain Time.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's always
I don't think
420 in
that's
the
right.
mountains.
They're out behind us.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, after
Okay.
daylight.
420 Mountain
Yeah,
Time.
after
Do you
daylight
think
savings.
you don't think it goes backwards one way? Like the
Well,
time?
Mountain Time's weird, dude. Mountain Time's different than West Coast time.
Right. That's the one that we're hitting. That's the honey hole.
You
1
think?
hour this way, then another hour over
They
here.
don't do.
Arizona doesn't do daylight savings time.
That's Mountain Time.
That's just
Arizona's
one
on their
state.
own time.
They're on their own time.
What? Arizona's not Mountain Time?
They switch time zones basically.
They don't believe
Whatever.
it.
I don't know. Time zones make. I don't know. You're making
My
my
head hurt.
You're making my head hurt. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're on all podcast networks. Thank God. We're on Apple and Spotify. Thanks for tuning in. Go watch the Tigers win the series this
Minus
weekend.
195.
Don't bet minus 195. You could bet
Over 13
You
and
could
a half.
bet the over or under if ever you want, but the minus 195.
Stay
That
away
makes
from
you stay away from the 195. That makes 0 sense to bet 90 to risk 95. Like that just makes no sense.
You don't want a 20 to win 10?
No, that makes 0 sense to me.
No.
Thanks for tuning in. You're watching Mik'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive.